Good evening. Let's read one more aircraft. And I'm uploading a Danish video about aircraft, the Beechcraft Byron. Let's close for today. Yes, let's close for today. So I still need to make some English videos, but that will not be today. Let's move my tomato tripods I use for this camcorder. So let's read about this, the Havilland -8, but that's a big passengers. So I make a video Danish Byron, so let's delete it. Now I just need 2-3 English, but that will not be today, because I like to go to bed. I like to watch the Danish news in 50 minutes. So there's a lot of power on the camcorder. But let's read this one. Yes, I have to write it down. De Havilland I think I just call it the Havilland -8. Yes, I will look at this later. Just like to write it down. Let's go to bed. I have to check my cell phone. Alarm clock is on. I need a minute to do myself ready. So many small airliners, they're using this aircraft. So I think this is a very good aircraft for small airline.
De Havilland Canada -8. -8 Q Series Air Berlin Q400, cropped, .jpg. Air Berlin Q400 Roll Turboprop Regional Airliner National Origin Canada Manufactured Havilland Canada, 1983-1992. Bombardier Aerospace, 1992-2019. De Havilland Canada, 2019 present. First flight June 20, 1983. Introduction 1984 with no on-air status in production. Primary user Scantace Linguestiet Encore. Air Canada Express. Wide area. Produced 1983 present, Series 400. -8 Series 100 production ended in 2005. -8 Series 200 and 300 production ended in 2009. 1. Number build 1,258, as of March 31, 2019. 2. The de Havilland Canada DHC-8. 3. Common line known as the -8, is a series of turboprop-powered regional airliners, introduced by de Havilland Canada, DHC, in 1984. DHC was later bought by Boeing in 1988, then by Bombardier in 1992, then by Longview Aviation Capital in 2019, reviving the de Havilland Canada brand. Powered by two Pratt & Whitney Canada PW100s, it was developed from the Dash 7 with improved cruise performance and lower operational costs, but without still performance. 3 sizes were offered, initially the 37-40-seat Dash 100 until 2005 and the more powerful -200 from 1995. The stretched 50-56 seats -300 from 1989. Both until 2009 and the 68-90 seats -400 from 1999, still in production. The Q series are post 1997 variants fitted with active noise control systems. Development. Initial development. In the 1970s, de Havilland Canada had invested heavily in its Dash 7 project, concentrating on STO land short field performance, the company's traditional area of expertise. Using 4 medium power engines with large, 4-bladed propellers resulted in comparatively lower noise levels, which combined with its excellent stall characteristics, made the Dash 7 suitable for operating from small in-city airports, a market DHC felt would be compelling. However, only a handful of air carriers employed the Dash 7, as most regional airlines were more interested in operational costs than short field performance. In 1980, de Havilland responded by dropping the short field performance requirement and adapting the basic Dash 7 layout to use only 2 more powerful engines. Its favored engine supplier, Pratt & Whitney Canada, developed the new PW100 series engine's 4th roll, more than doubling the power from its PT6. Originally designated the PT7 a 2R engine, it later became the PW120. When the Dash 8 rolled out on developed from de Havilland Canada Dash 7 in DHC colors at Farnborough in 1984. April 19, 1983, more than 3,800 hours of testing have been accumulated over 2 years on 5 PW100 series test engines. The Dash 8 first flight was on the 20th of June, 1983. Certification of the PW120 followed on the 16th of December, 1983. 4. The first Dash 8 delivered, Toronto. The airliner entered service in 1984 with Toronto and Piedmont Airlines, formerly Henson Airlines, was the first U.S. customer the same year. DHC resale. In 1986, Boeing bought the company in a bid to improve air production at DHC's Downsview Airport plants, 5, as well as better position itself to compete for a new Air Canada order for large intercontinental airliners. Air Canada was a Crown corporation at the time, and both Boeing and Airbus were competing heavily via political channels for the contract. It was eventually won by Airbus, which received an order for 34 A320 aircraft in a highly controversial move. The allegations of bribery are today known as Airbus affair. Following its failure in the competition, Boeing immediately put de Havilland Canada up for sale. The company was eventually purchased by Bombardier in 1992. 6. Q Series, -400. A Q400 platform view the market for new aircraft to replace existing turboprops once again grew in the mid-1990s, and DHC responded with the improved Series 400 design. All Dash 8s delivered from the second quarter of 1996, including all Series 400s, include the active noise and vibration system designed to reduce cabin noise and vibration levels to nearly those of jet airliners. To emphasize their quietness, Bombardier renamed the Dash 8 models as the Q Series turboprops, Q200, Q300, and Q400. 7. The last Dash 8 to 100, a -102, was built in 2005. In April 2008, Bombardier announced that production of the classic versions, Series 100, 200, 300, would be ended, leaving the Series 400 as the only Dash 8 still in production. Production of the Q200 and Q300 was to cease in May 2009. 8. A total of 671 Dash 8 classics were produced. The last one was delivered to Air Nelson in May 2008. 9. The 1,000th-8 was delivered in November 2010. 10. Production. Early 300 cockpit. Modern Q400 cockpit. Bombardier aimed to produce the Q400 more economically. A deal with its machinists union in June 2017 allowed the assembly of viewings and cockpit section outside Canada, and searches for potential partners commenced. Bombardier expected to produce a cockpit section in its plant in Querétaro, Mexico, outsourcing wings to China's Shenyang Aircraft Corp., which already builds Q400's center fuselage. 11. The Q400 components are chemically milled, while older variants are assembled from bonded panels and skins. 12. The production of the Dash 8 Series 100 stopped in 2005, and they half the Series 200 and 300 in 2009. 13. Proposed Q400X stretch. Bombardier proposed development of a Q400 stretch with two plug-in segments, called the Q400X project, in 2007. 14. It would compete in the 90-seat market range. 15. In response to this project, as of November 2007, ATR was studying a 90-seat stretch. 16. In June 2009, Bombardier Commercial Aircraft President Gary Scott indicated that the Q400X will be definitely part of our future for possible introduction in 2013-14, although he did not detail the size of the proposed version or commit to an introduction date. 17. As of July 2010, Bombardier's Vice President, Philippe Pautizou, made comments explaining the company was still studying the prospects of designing the Q400X and talking with potential customers. At the time, Bombardier was not as committed to the Q400X as it had been previously. 18. As of May 2011, Bombardier was still strongly committed to the stretch, but envisioned it as more likely as a 2015 or later launch. Complicating launch date matters were new power plants from GE and PwC to be introduced in 2016. 19. As of February 2012, Bombardier was still studying the issue, but as of 2011, the launch date was no longer targeted for the 2014 range. At least a 3-year delay was envisioned. 20. In October 2012, a joint development deal with a government-led South Korean consortium was revealed to develop a 90-seater turboprop regional airliner, targeting a 2019 launch date. The consortium was to have included Korea Aerospace Industries and Korean Airlines. 21. High-density, 90-seat Q400. At the February 2016 Singapore Airshow, Bombardier announced a high-density, 90-seat layout of the Q400, which should enter service in 2018, keeping the 28-in, 71 cm, seat pitch of the Nok Air 86 seats. An extra row of seats is allowed by changing the configuration of the front right door and moving back the aft pressure bulkhead. The payload is increased by 2,000 pounds, 910 kilograms, and the aircraft maintenance check intervals are increased, 800 hours from 600 for an A check and 8,000 hours from 6,000 for a C check. 22. By August 2018, The 90-seat variant was certified before delivery to launch customer SpiceJet later in the same year. 23. In March 2021, EASA certified the 90-seat variant for European operations. DHC believes that there are opportunities with current and prospective European customers. 24. Sale to Longview. Reviving the de Havilland Canada name. On the 8th of November, 2018, Viking Air parent Longview Aviation Capital Corporation acquired the entire Dash 8 program and the de Havilland brand from Bombardier, in a deal that would close by the second half of 2019. 25. Viking had already acquired the discontinued de Havilland Canada aircraft model type certificates in 2006. 26. By November 2018, the sales of the higher performance Q400 were slower than the cheaper aircraft from ATR. 27. Bombardier announced the sale was for $300 million and expects $250 million net. 28. The sale was projected by Bombardier to result in $250 million annual savings. 29. In January 2019, Longview announced that it would establish a new company in Ontario, reviving the de Havilland Aircraft Company of Canada name, to continue production of the Q400 and support the Dash 8 range. 30. By February, the program sale was expected to close at the end of September. 31. On the 3rd of June 2019, the sale was closed with the newly formed de Havilland Canada, DHC, taking control of the Dash 8 program, including the previous -100, -200, and -300 series. Production of the Q400 was planned to continue at the Dalwans View, Toronto production facility, under DHC's management. 32. De Havilland is considering a 50-seat shrink, as North American Airlines operate 870 aging 50-seaters, most Likajs and Embraers. 33. There were 17 Dash 8s scheduled for delivery in 2021, and de Havilland could pause production after those, while the factory lease expires in 2023. 34. On the 17th of February 2021, DHC announced a pause in production, planned for the second half of 2021, due to lack of Dash 8 orders from airlines. The manufacturer planned to vacate its Dalwans View, Toronto facility and lay off 500 employees in the process. 35. 36. The layoff notice resulted in the union representing the workers demanding a government bailout. The company plans to restart production after the pandemic at a new location. 36. In July 2022, DHC announced that it would review the Dash 8 program and supply chain later in the year, and could restart production in the middle of the decade if conditions allow. The Calgary site, where the company produces DHC-6 Twin Otters, would be the likely venue. Potential updates, including hydrogen electric propulsion, will be studied. 37. Design. 4 abreast, 2-2 cabin. Distinguishing features of the Dash 8 design are the large T-tail intended to keep the tail free of prop wash during takeoff, a very high aspect ratio wing, the elongated engine nacelles also holding 3-wood folding landing gear, and the pointed nose profile. The Dash 8 design has better cruise performance than the Dash 7, is less expensive to operate, and is much less expensive to maintain due largely to having only 2 engines. It is a little noisier than the Dash 7 and cannot match the stall performance of its earlier DHC forebears, although it is still able to operate from small airports with runways 3,000 feet, 910 m, long, compared to the 2,200 foot, 670 m, required by a fully laden Dash 7. Regional jet competition. the introduction of the regional jet altered the sales picture. Although more expensive than turboprops, regional jets allow airlines to operate passenger services on routes not suitable for